So we have some breaking news that is coming in from the Australian camp, and that is Australian skipper Pat Cummins has decided to rush back home. Now there is a 9 day gap for the third test that will happen in Indore. So why has Pat Cummins rushed back home after the end of the test in Delhi? Well, according to various media reports in Australia, there is a serious family health emergency that has come, and that is the main reason why Pat Cummins has gone back to Australia. The latest reports for people who are joining us now, the latest report that we are getting is that Pat Cummins, the Australian skipper, has decided to head back home to Australia because there is a family emergency. There is a family medical emergency that has come up at his place. Now, the main point now will be, can Pat Cummins come back for the Indore test match that will happen on March 1? He's not yet been ruled out of this match yet. Let us make it one thing very clear. He's just flown back to Australia. It is just for a couple of days that he is back there. So Pat Cummins might come back for the Indore test match that will happen on March 1. Yesterday, the test match ended, and that is why now from 20th onwards till 1st, you've got a 9 day gap for the third test that will happen in Indore. It has not been a good series for Pat Cummins with the bat or with the ball and with his captaincy, because Australia, for two consecutive tests, they have been hammered by India, one by an innings in Nagpur and one by 6 wickets in Delhi. So, two tests, 2.5 days, 5 days in total in two test matches. Australia have managed to surrender the Border Gavaskar Trophy. India have now got it for the fourth consecutive time: 2017, 2018, 19, 2020, 2021, and now 2023. For four consecutive seasons now, for four consecutive editions, India have managed to get the Border Gavaskar Trophy. Now, the problem is what had happened is Pat Cummins, neither has he delivered with the bat, neither has he delivered with the ball, neither has he delivered in his captaincy. His captaincy was unfortunately very, very proactive. It was lack of proactivity in the test in Nagpur. He spread the field out, he didn't deliver with the new ball, he didn't bowl much, he allowed the game to drift away, and that is why now, unfortunately, this has happened. On the other hand, in Delhi, he did not bowl yet again. He was struggling with the bat. And this shot selection, especially of the batters, that was a major, major problem at this point in time. The unfortunate thing is, for Australia, Cummins is not leading from the front. And that is the prime reason why Australia have squandered the advantage in the Border Gavaskar Trophy for the fourth consecutive time. 2-0, and India now have ensured that they have a vice-like grip on Australia. 32 wins that they have had now against them, the most that they have had against any test playing nation. At this point in time, Australia just cannot seem to catch a break. Now, with Pat Cummins flying back home, if suppose he cannot make it back for the test in Indore, what will happen? Most likely, then Steve Smith will step up to lead the Australian side for the third test. This is not the first time that it will happen. You will remember that during the 2021 Ashes, the main problem that happened was that Pat Cummins was ruled out due to COVID. And because of that, Steve Smith led the side, and Australia had won against England in the pink ball test match. That's what happened. Cummins came back after he recovered from COVID, and Australia won the series 4-0. Maybe if they cannot come at this point in time, if Pat Cummins cannot return back to India for any reason, if the family health situation is really, really problematic, then Steve Smith will lead the team. That is the situation that we have at this point in time. Remember now, Australia's World Test Championship cycle final, that is going to be a major problem now. Because if they lose 4-0, then they will have to hope that Sri Lanka do not win 2-0 against New Zealand. If Sri Lanka wins 2-0, Australia lose 4-0, Australia are eliminated from the World Test Championship final. That is the situation that is confronting Pat Cummins at this point in time. And it is very surprising that Pat Cummins, the Australian skipper, just has not turned up for this Australia-India series, because He led from the front in the series against Pakistan. He led from the front in Sri Lanka. But in India, in the two tests that has happened, he's just been found wanting. And the main problem that we have seen at this point in time is that we have just not been able to see Pat Cummins, the bowler, the captain, or the batsman, step up. So, for people who are joining us now in this latest breaking update, is that Pat Cummins, the Australian skipper, has rushed back home because of a family medical emergency that has emerged. Players can now actually take a break. Some players might want to come back home. Some players might want to just ensure that they get their focus back because already in two tests, Australia have endured a torrid time. There are concerns over the team composition. David Warner, remember, he suffered a concussion and also he suffered a hairline fracture on his elbow. Most likely, Warner will be out for the third test also. Whether he will play the fourth test, we don't know. So Warner is in doubt. What about Mitchell Stark? What about Cameron Green? That is the problem that Australia are facing. If Pat Cummins goes out, then the bowling attack, which is already very weak, gets weakened even further, even with the addition of Mitchell Stark or Cameron Green. Because Stark has not played the two tests because of the finger injury that he sustained in the Boxing Day testing in South Africa. Stark, along with Cameron Green, Green also suffered the injury in the Boxing Day test. He also has not played for three matches. So whether Green can make a recovery and feature in the Indore test remains to be seen. But Australia's woes will continue because Indore is a venue where India have rarely lost, be it test matches, be it ODIs, it is India's fortress. Yes, they have lost a couple of T20Is there, but in red ball cricket, it is India's ultimate fortress. And remember, Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli, these two players have a very good record in Indore. So Australia's summer of woes will continue in India because they have lost the first two tests by big margins. This is the worst problem that is happening at this point in time. So it is going to be very, very tricky for Australia to maintain their huge chances in the World Test Championship cycle final. Because look, heading into the this four test series, Australia had 75 percentage points. If they lose 4-0, they'll get to 59.6. That should still be enough for them to reach the final, provided Sri Lanka do not win 2-0. If Sri Lanka wins 1-0, they will only get to 55.6. That's it. They cannot qualify. Sri Lanka have to win two tests. So that is the current situation at this point in time. And Pat Cummins is a really, really big problem at this point in time. When will he come back? That is a huge problem. Remember, 9 days to go for the Indore test. Just 9 days. Cummins, if he comes back, great. But if he doesn't come back, then in all likelihood, Steve Smith will lead the Australian side for the remaining two tests. Maybe Cameron Green, Mitchell Stark can come back. So Pat Cummins, for people who have joined us, Pat Cummins has rushed back home because of a family medical emergency. Whether he will be back for the Indore test, it remains to be seen. If he doesn't come back, then in all likelihood, Steve Smith will lead the Australian team for the Indore test. So thank you so much, folks, for joining us for this video. We'll be back with more updates on sports today. Press the like, comment, and share button. We are also there on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram as well. And don't forget to download the Sports Talk mobile app. Thank you.